the city that you're dialing it from. Okay, I see the responses coming in. I see Prerna from Mumbai, Abhinav from Ghaziabad, Bachelors. Okay, this is going too fast for me. Priya from Delhi, Azra from Jaipur, Mohit from Mohit. Okay, hi Mohit. Mohit from Mohit, good to see you over there. I see, okay, hi Mohit, you're from Bangalore, good to see that. And great, welcome all of you. Thank you for being on time. It's really great to see you coming in, dialing in for this session on time. We are 80 plus. I still want to give the audience a minute or so before they connect. So please let us know in the meanwhile the city that you're dialing in from. Hi Kashishka, thank you to you as well. Thank you for joining in. I see Viraj from Surat and Saad from Mumbai, Megha from Goa. So quite literally from across the country. So I saw some from north of India, some south, some from the west of the country. So thank you for being here. Today's session is extremely special to me for multiple reasons, and we'll speak about that in a bit. But before that, let me take a minute and do quick introductions for all of us, and we will jump into the session eventually post that. So my name is Sanjay Dhingra. I'm a co-founder and director at Seed Global Education. We are a higher education firm that works with some of the top universities in the world to bring programs or sessions like these to audience like you. Basically build a platform which connects audience or prospective students like you with top universities, business schools, institutions, engineering schools from around the world. Today's session is particularly special for me because this is with the Schulich School of Business, which is also my erstwhile employer. So I worked with the school for a couple of years. I was based out of the Hyderabad campus, and I've worked closely with Vijender, who's joining us for today's session. To tell you a little bit about Professor Shanker Trivedi and Vijender. So Professor Trivedi is an associate professor of accounting and program director of the Masters of Accounting, Diploma in Intermediate Accounting, and Diploma in Advanced Accounting programs at Schulich. His research interests are in financial accounting, the accounting profession, and the tax. He's a CA from India, and at Schulich and other business schools in the world, he's taught at all levels, including at the bachelor's level, the master's level, and also at the doctoral level. He's published in journals across the top tier ones, including experimental economics and accounting organizations and society, amongst others. He's also the co-author of the 6th and 7th editions of Advanced Financial Accounting. He's also served on many committees at the university, at the professional level, and also at the national levels. So really stellar profile over here. We are soon going to hear from him about Schulich's Masters of Accounting program and how it can be your pathway to the CPA in Ontario and Canada. So those of you who are unaware of this, CPA is equivalent to a CA in North America. So you'll see CPA in Canada, you'll see CPA in America, which is basically equivalent to a chartered accountancy degree or qualification in India. It's highly reputed, extremely prestigious, and opens up great opportunities in the financial services sector in Canada and North America as well. So we are going to hear from him in a bit. We will also hear from Vijender, who is a Schulich alumnus. He's an MBA alumnus from the Schulich School of Business. He did his bachelor's education in India before and worked in India for a couple of years before moving to Canada to pursue his MBA at Schulich. Post his MBA at Schulich, he's worked in prestigious and respectable organizations in Toronto, including the CIBC Bank, Mars Innovation Center, Weight Watchers, and Accenture Digital. He currently is the admissions in charge and recruitment in charge for Schulich's MBA and MBA in India programs, and is the associate director based out of the Hyderabad campus. With that, let me hand it over to Professor Shanker. I know we need to run a poll as well. I'm going to do that eventually. But now let me hand it over to Professor Shanker to tell us a little bit about the Masters of Accounting program at Schulich and how it can be your pathway to a career in North America. Over to you, Professor.
Okay, thank you very much, Sanjay. That was a very fantastic introduction. Welcome, India. I see that the audience is from all places of India. That's great. So what I'm going to do here today is that I'm going to introduce you to the Masters of Accounting program from Canada's #1 business school. No doubt about that. And we titled this a Master Career Plan. Why? Because it's just not about the education that you get here. It's just not career alone. It's a profession, right? It's a way of life, because you're entering into a profession like the CPA profession, which is an elite profession that is recognized throughout the world. So, just remember that it's recognized throughout the world. It's a way of life, right? being a professional. It's like being a doctor, like being a lawyer, right? Same thing as chartered accountant, a CPA. I'm trying to move to the next slide here. Just give me a minute because it's an international meet here, so it takes time. So what I'm really excited about presenting today is our Diploma in Intermediate Accounting in India. Term 0, we call it the term 0. The Diploma in Intermediate Accounting it gives you a pathway into our Masters of Accounting. And we are going to launch this in 2023, right, in summer. That's when our first DAC term 0 is going to be held. And it's been specifically designed for students in India with a bachelor's, 3 years bachelor's, right? It's a very special thing. And it gives you the pathway into the elite accounting profession in Canada. So next slide, I'm trying to go to, yeah. So you can see here the team that is associated with this program. Myself, obviously, have been introduced. So also Vijay. So the two of us, we might also be, some others might also join in later, but we are the two to start with. So first of all, introducing you to the Schulich Advantage. Why should you even be interested in Schulich, right? The Schulich Advantage, there's no doubt about it. It's one of the top business programs in the world, just not in Canada, in the world. It's recognized. It has many innovative programs. Just like the Masters of Accounting and the DAC program in India, we always try to innovate. We are at the cutting edge, right? We are leaders in corporate responsibility. We have many global partnerships, which means you have a very strong network group that you can, bank on if you want to go anywhere in the world, which you can do. And we'll talk about that in a minute's time, right? As I said, we have a very strong alumni network group. Then going to the next slide. Vijay, can you move it? There. Yeah, thank you. So first of all, talking about the DIAC-MAC in India program. This is a very prestigious and rigorous program. Our program has stellar results. And the two great things of the many great things is that it's accredited by the CPA Institute. It's accredited to take you all the way to the CFE exam. Remember that not many programs allow you to do that. So you can come into our program. We, train you completely and take you all the way to the CFE final exam. And our pass rates are fantastic, which means you become a CPA. And what does that mean? We'll talk about that later. It opens the world of accounting to you, not just in Canada, but throughout the world. Why? Because the CPA Institute of Canada has this reciprocity arrangements with other institutes, like other accounting institutes throughout the world in all elite countries like Australia, USA, UK, with the most of Europe. So, you can base yourself in Canada. If you want, you can live in Canada, you can work in Canada, but if you want to work globally, you can do that. Unfortunately, you cannot do that with designations that you might obtain in India. That's an unfortunate thing, but this is an advantage that we can offer. Second, our solid curriculum and teaching pedagogy. It's second to none. We are known for our Schulich accounting case, but that actually Schulich is also known as the accounting school. Why? Because we are so strong in accounting. And this is the kind of case method that is used to test you on the common final exam of the CPA Institute. And so from day one, this is how we teach accounting. We don't just teach debits and credits. We teach you critical thinking skills. And these critical thinking skills will be useful to you in all walks of life, right? So we put you into context. We make use of some cases. So real world, reflecting the real world. And then you're trying to make use of your accounting knowledge as well as your non-accounting business knowledge, your critical thinking skills to come up with solutions. And you also learn how to communicate it, both written, oral, right, to others, which is a very critical component nowadays of any professional. You ought to be able to communicate yourself very well. And we give you the tools for that. And as I said before, it's the passport to the world. Not many people realize that, right? You get a very elite degree from Schulich, which tells people that you are a class apart. And then it opens up the whole world to you once you become a CPA. Then going to the next slide. So we'll just give you an introduction about an overview, not a very detailed, overwhelming details about the program, but an overview, good overview. So what we are doing, and this is here, we are introducing this India DIAC program for the first time. As you can see, the entire DIAC plus MAC program is spread over 4 terms. It takes you 16 months. So you could be anyone, right? You could have a bachelor's. So you need to have a bachelor's, obviously, but where 3-year bachelor's is fine from India. That's why we have this term 0 in India. And you could have a degree in fine arts. It could be liberal arts. It could be sciences. But suddenly you're woken up and you found out that accounting is where you want to be, right? And so you come to our Hyderabad campus. You stay in Hyderabad for term 0, right? And we give you a very solid foundation in India about accounting. And then you move on and join the rest of the student population in Toronto, and you join term 1. And so you finish term 0 and term 1 of the Diploma in Intermediate Accounting, and that's when you get your diploma. But then you also are admitted, if you meet the admission standards, which most students do, into term 2, which is when your MAC program starts, right? So in term 1, you build on the foundation skills that you learned in term 0 in Hyderabad. And then when you move on to term 2, you gain mastery over advanced topics like advanced financial accounting, which I teach. And then the term 3 is the next summer. So term 0 is summer 1. Then you have term 1 fall. Term 2 is winter. And term 3 is summer. And summer, we go fully into the case method. You really become masters of the case method, and then you're fully prepared to take the CFE exam, and you pass the CFE exam. You're well on your way to get your CP designation. On the way, you also get jobs in accounting firms. You do your articleship, so that really gives you a solid foundation to become a top-notch accountant. So you can see here, no other program allows you to become a CPA within 16 short months, right? From term 0 to the end of term 3, which is the next summer, you're there, which is fantastic news. I didn't have such a program when I did my CA back home, right? So I had to go the long way. I had to do my Indian CA, then come over abroad, right? And then, well, I wanted to be in teaching, so then I did my PhD. But you get the point, right? You don't have to go through the long way. Here you have a very elite program that just parachutes you into the top profession in the world. Going to the next slide. So what are the key benefits? Obviously, this Schulich brand. The Schulich brand, as I said, is second to none. And then you get your CPA designation. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You get an elite master's, and then you also get your CPA designation. So you're a professional, right? Which differentiates you from other people. Then, much more importantly, because it's a 16-month program, it gives you a 3-year work permit that allows you to stay back in Canada and then work, and at the same time apply for your landed immigrant status, and you get it. Like when you get your landed immigrant status, it means that you have the legal ability to stay in Canada, stay forever, make this your home, and then the world is at your there for you to conquer. And as I said, it's the passport to the world. And we cannot, it's not something that we cannot belittle. It's a very strong asset to have in your pocket. Then the cost. The ROIs is fantastic. Vijay will talk about the details in a bit. We also are giving as incentives so financial aid for your first term tuition fees. When you join our program in Hyderabad, you stay in Hyderabad for term 0, as I said. You cut down on costs, you slowly get acclimatized to our program. And all the professors who teach there, who will teach there will be us. We'll be coming over to India and teaching you. So you'll be getting the same quality education that our graduates get who join our program here. And the beauty here is that you start, even though you start in India, you also join them from term 1 onwards. You get the same experience that they get from term 1, 2, and you become friends with them, you network with them, you get the beauty of being involved in our campus in Toronto. Going to the next slide. Lastly, the Toronto Advantage. I know, as the unfortunate events in Ukraine have highlighted, it's a very sorry set of affairs, but it helps to be in a very safe country, right? Canada is by far a fantastic country. I've been in the US, I've studied in the US, right? I moved to Canada. I have no regrets about Canada, especially Toronto. It's a fantastic place. It's very safe. Obviously, you cannot get a safer place than Toronto for a city that's so big. Okay, in terms of the market for graduates, it has the third largest stock exchange in North America, right? And in terms of opportunity, here it's ranked number 3 in the world. So you have opportunities galore. It's one of the best places to live in. There's so many things to do from here. And if you want to even to visit USA, most of USA is within the day's reach. You can drive and go there. And one great thing is that it's one of the most diverse cities in the world. So being here, you can visit the world, so to speak, because it's all within Toronto. And 55% of Toronto's population is born outside of Canada, which means you are in North America, but at the same time, you also don't have to give up on the Indian vibe, the Indian culture. You can have it for the asking. And then to top it all, the cherry on the top it's one of the best universities that you have, Schulich and York University. So now what I'll do is that I'll hand it over to Vijay, who will continue with the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shankar. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well and staying safe. Thank you for joining us today. I believe you're able to see my screen, right? Yes, the Career Development Center. So Schulich has a strong support systems in place to help you succeed and achieve your career goals. From day one, you'll gain access to our Career Development Center. Right? Of course, you do the program, you of course have your term 0 to term 3, but you need a support system to help you succeed and to help you plan your career goals, right? And this center, this Career Development Center, provides sector-based career coaching, individualized coaching and advising, one-on-one coaching, where you'll work with your career coach to plan your program journey, to discuss your short-term and long-term goals. You'll plan your job search. You'll also work with them to fine-tune your resume, your cover letter, you'll do mock interviews, all of that. So you'll have one career coach to go to, and you'll gain access to this from day one. And the Career Development Center team also runs soft skill development workshops. So moving from South Asia to North America, these soft skills become even more important. Right? And the team runs some really good workshops to help you fine-tune these skills. And last but not least, networking, very important. The team organizes on-campus recruitment events, year-round corporate networking events, breakfast sessions, panels, speed networking sessions, and you're also able to tap into Schulich's strong alumni network through our alumni networking mixers. So again, a really strong support system to help you succeed. Moving to the next slide, this is a snapshot of a MAC class of 2020 employment report. And I'll quickly share some numbers and stats here to give you more confidence about career opportunities in accounting in Canada. So you look at the first stat here, 97% of students, MAC program students, were hired within 6 months of graduation. And if you look at the number of firms, about 35 firms have recruited Schulich MAC students, but top firms include consulting firms like Deloitte, PwC, and top banks in Canada, including RBC, TD, and CIBC. Also thought might be a good idea for us to share some sample roles that our MAC graduates start post their MAC program or post their CPA exam or CFE exam. So roles here are finance and accounting associate, intermediate accountant, staff accountant. If you're interested in US tax, you can become an US tax associate, portfolio analyst, if that's what you're interested in. So again, just thought we'll list some sample roles here. And the last thing that I'd like to share on this slide is the salary data, accounting profession salary data, Canada, of course, national, and also Toronto numbers. So if you look at the median salary, Toronto as a city, you'll see that it's about $118,000, and mean salary is 167,000 Canadian dollars. And if you look at the national level salary data, median is about 107,000 Canadian dollars, and mean is about $150,000. But important thing to note here is Schulich students earn well above the average. And this highlights how strong the brand is, how strong the Schulich brand is. Right, so that's about career development center and career opportunities for accounting professionals in Canada. And student life, right? The student life at Schulich is truly amazing. Right? We have something called a graduate business council. It's a governing student elected council for all graduate level programs. And you'll also gain access to clubs, industry-based clubs, student interest clubs, cultural clubs, and this is where you will connect, engage, learn, embrace diversity, and network to become a well-rounded business professional. And I did the MBA program back in 2010-11 and had an amazing experience. And the flexibility that you have with the programs and the student life and access to the student clubs is truly amazing and exceptional. Okay. Just moving on to admission requirements, important slide. I know this is a busy slide, but an important slide. So I'll quickly go through admission requirements. From an academic standpoint, we do require a 3 or a 4-year undergraduate degree recognized by WES. The next important point that we'd like to highlight is your university should be NAAC accredited. GPA 60% and above, that's our cutoff. And we also require prerequisite courses, whether you come from engineering or commerce background. I'm sure there's these courses you must have touched or you must have done in your undergrad degree. And I'll just quickly highlight those courses: micro and macroeconomics, statistics, and finance courses. So these are some prerequisite courses. This is again to help you start the program with confidence. Right. And we also, when we interview you, we'll get into details about these courses and how would these courses help you do really well in the DIAC and the MAC program. We do require a competitive Gmat or GRE score. Work experience, it's not recommended. Right? It's recommended but not required. Sorry, it's recommended but not required. So if you're still pursuing your undergraduate degree, you should feel confident submitting your application. If you have a 2 to 3 years of work experience and you're planning to pursue the CPA designation in Canada, absolutely would love to connect and talk to you. English language test. This is optional, not mandatory for students from India, because your undergraduate degree for the most part has been in English, right? The medium of instruction has been English. So this is not mandatory, but if you do submit, then we have just listed the cutoffs, the score cutoffs. And essays, so as part of your application package, will ask you to submit 2 written, 1 timed written, and 2 video essays. And last but not least, we do require 2 references, right? Academic or professionals. These are the people that you've worked with, right? And they will let us know your strengths, your areas of improvement, and we would love to hear from them. So again, these are basic admission requirements. And moving on to application deadlines. So as Shanker mentioned, we are launching this program, the DIAC in India program, in May 2023. And round 1 deadline for this intake is August 12, 22. Round 2 is October 7th, and round 3 is end of November. And we strongly recommend that students apply by round 3 at the latest, that is November 25th, because after this, what we'll do is we'll start the onboarding process, and we'll also have our international relations team work with you to submit a really strong study permit application. And then you'll get ready and move to Canada to start your program in May 2023. And the last slide here, next steps. Of course, we'll be happy to answer any questions you might have for us today. But next steps, we strongly encourage that you attend our events to get to know a bit more about Schulich, more about the MAC program, the DIAC program, and connect with our alumni. You can also email us if you have any specific questions. Here is the email address. This is one other thing I would like to draw your attention to is if you would like to discuss your profile in detail, you can always submit your profile for a pre-admission assessment. And here is the link here. And what I'll also do is maybe I'll share this link in the chat box so you can click and bookmark this. So if you want us to discuss your profile in detail, please submit this form and a member of the admissions team will get in touch with you to schedule a Zoom call if that is what you want us to do. And another great way to connect and see what's happening at Schulich is connect with us on social media, right? We have Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. So feel free to reach out to us, connect with us, engage, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have for us as you're planning to, submit your application. And thank you. Happy to answer any questions. Over to you, Sanjay.
Awesome. So to the audience, you can post your questions for Vijender, Professor Trivedi in the Q&A box, and I'll pick up the relevant questions to ask them. In the meanwhile, while you think of the questions, I want to run the first poll of the evening for you. In fact, I'm going to run both our polls for today simultaneously, one after another. So the first poll, you are going to see it go live on your screen right now, which is about in which year do you intend to pursue your master's education? Are you looking to start your master's education within 2022? Are you aspiring for 2023? That is the next year's intake. Or are you still undecided, still confused when to do it, and you haven't made up your mind? So please let us know the year in which you're aspiring or intending to start your master's education. All right, I see a fair around 3740 responses that have come in so far. So if you haven't yet responded, please let us know the year in which you intend to start your master's education. And I'm going to run our second poll of the evening as well. Those of you who have already responded to the poll, you can post your questions for Professor Trivedi, Vijender in the Q&A box, and I'll pick up the relevant questions to ask them. Okay, I see the questions have started coming in as well. I'm going to keep the poll open for another 5 seconds. So if you haven't yet responded, please do. Please let us know in the year in which you intend to start your master's education. And with that, I'm going to end the poll and quickly share the results as well. So around 43% of the audience are looking at the 2023 intake, so next year's intake. Around 22% are looking at this year within 2022. And then 34% are currently undecided. So they are either looking at 2024 or later, or they are undecided as of now. On that note, I'm also going to run our second poll of the evening. This is even more interesting than the first one. So to the audience, through this poll, let us know your preferred destination for study. Which part of the world do you want to go and pursue your master's education? Do you want to pursue your master's within Asia, which could be Singapore, Hong Kong, India? Are you looking to study in Europe, which is countries like UK, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, so on and so forth? Are you looking to study in North America, so which can be either Canada or United States? Or if you're still undecided, then choose the last option. Please let us know your preferred destination, your preferred country for doing your master's education. All right. I have 50+ responses that have come in. I'm going to keep the poll open for another minute or so. So if you haven't yet responded, please do. Please let us know your preferred destination for further studies. Are you looking to study within Asia? Are you looking to study in Canada, Europe, United States, or if you're still undecided? All right. I have around 55 responses. I'm going to keep this open for another few seconds. So if you haven't yet responded, please do so. Please let us know your country or your target destination where you want to study your, do your further studies. All right, with that, I'm going to end this poll as well and share results. So not surprisingly, since the session was about doing your master plan for studying in Canada, a majority of audience, around 40% are looking to study or do their further studies in Canada. So 39% over there, around 26% are looking at United States. So combined between Canada and United States, around 65% are looking at North America, followed by Europe, Asia, and the remaining 12% are currently undecided. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for responding to the poll. I hope today's session has been extremely insightful, has given you some insight into Canada as a destination, as the country to study, and Schulich as an institution, and York as a university to study. I'm going to start picking up the audience question now. And Professor Shanker, I have the first question for you. This is a question which has come from 𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 to pursue her chartered accountancy in India, what advice would you have for her? Shall she look at moving to Canada through possibly the Schulich Masters of Accounting program and doing her CPA over there? Or do you recommend that she continue on her path in India and complete her CA over here?
Okay. Yeah, a very good question, Nidhi. I'll answer that in a minute. Before that, I'd like to, go back and touch upon this issue about Canada versus USA. Okay. I was studied in the USA. In USA is a great country, no doubt about that. But nowadays, and this is just not because I'm the program director here, this is the advice that I give to my nephews from India. And one of my nephews did come to Canada, right? He could have gone to the US. He had fantastic Gmat scores, but he chose to come to Canada. Why? Because it's a no-brainer. You get your landed immigrant status very soon, right? So you have a legal ability to stay in Canada. You don't get that in the US, unfortunately. You have to wait for 15 years at the least to get your green card. So huge difference. I'll give my personal example. One of my nephews came here, he settled here, he's married, he's enjoying his life. Another nephew, he chose to go to the US, he still is on H1B and he is relatively struggling. So you get the picture there, right? So very strong reason to come to Canada. Then 𝗀𝗀𝗁𝗂𝘁𝘁 case. Question, Nidhi, thank you. Let me be very frank here, because I've done research with my co-author on this very issue. We interviewed Indian chartered accountants who came here and tried to get to the market here. It's very difficult because the Indian CA, unfortunately, is not as recognized here, right, as the CPA. That's the reason why I came up with this program, so that you can do the right thing, you can do the most efficient thing. So do our masters, you're very well set, right? It's very difficult. So first of all, you have to get your PR to come into landed immigrant status to come here. You have to apply, and then you come here with an intermediate, CA intermediate, which is a great thing, right? Not downplaying it, but then you have to go around and shop, and then you have to try to find whether somebody would be ready to accept your designation, which is a very, and even if you get a job, you're starting at the basement level. You're not joining at the level you ought to be. So my advice to you is that do a program like ours, which will put you at the right spot, right, most efficiently. Hopefully that answers your question, Nidhi.
Sure, I believe it does. Thank you, Professor Shanker. Thank you for throwing light on that. And yes, immigration tends to be a very important factor, right? When you're investing so much money in your studies, you ideally want to stay back in that country, work for a couple of years, recover your investment, and even look at long-term. If you have aspirations, then settle in that country for the long term. And from what we speak to thousands of students in a month, in a year. And immigration tends to be the big question mark, especially with Europe, United States as well. But Canada, on the other hand, is extremely immigration friendly. And we have seen that in the increasing number of Indians migrating to Canada through the PR route or even the higher studies route. So thank you for throwing light on that. Vijendra, on that note, there's a question coming around the fee structure for the program. So what is the fee structure? What kind of scholarships can the candidates expect? And how do they go ahead with applying for those scholarships, securing those scholarships, and managing their finances?
Great. Thank you for the question, Sanjay. The total cost of this program, so DIAC plus the MAC program, so about 4 terms, comes out to be about $70,000. Right, it's tuition fees only. So it's 4 terms, 4 months each, so 16 months. Tuition fees about $70,000. And in terms of scholarships, and Sanjay, you know this, is international applicants are automatically considered for all merit-based entrance awards and scholarships. And a special application is not required. When you submit your application, we review your profile, we do a holistic evaluation, and if you meet all the requirements for a particular scholarship, we nominate you and we award an entrance award, right, or scholarship. So that's how it works. And what I'll do is I'll quickly share with you the link to the scholarship page here so that you can view, and I'll put this in the chat box here. This is the link to our scholarship, awards, and bursaries page. And the other thing that I also want to highlight is these are just entrance awards, but we also have bursaries and scholarships and awards that we provide during the program. Right. So once you start the program, if you're doing really well, then you're also able to apply to some of our bursaries and awards. And let's say in your term 2, you did really well from academic standpoint, or extracurricular activities, you might be eligible for a particular bursary, right? So that's another way of ensuring that you do get awarded for being a really good student, right? So that's that. And in terms of application, I did see a question about application fee, I guess. Right? So
registration fee or application fee, yes.
Application fee. So yes, there is an application fee. It's about $150 Canadian dollars. And you, of course, do this payment before you submit your application. I hope that answers your question.
It does. So to the audience, just a clarification. So Vijender spoke about in dollars. These are Canadian dollars. Note that the exchange rate of Canadian dollars and US dollars is different. So one Canadian dollar is currently around 59.60 rupees, 60 INR rupees. So when he says around 70,000 Canadian dollars, that would be roughly around 40 to 42 lakh Indian rupees. So just a clarification over there, because by default, a lot of Indians think of dollars in US dollar terms, which is at a much higher exchange rate. But Canadian dollar, the odds are not that high. So the exchange rate is around 59.60 rupees currently. So just a note over there.
One other point, if I can interject, is that these tuition fees for the MAC, actually, the MAC tuition fees are relatively lower as compared to other master's programs, like say the MBA. So that's a huge advantage. Second is that, as I told you, for term 0, we are also going to, reduce the tuition fees for those who join the Hyderabad campus. So that the exact amount is to be decided, but that also will reduce your costs. And this is a very great investment, because you'll more than recoup that in the course of your life. Yeah.
And we saw that in the average salaries. So Vijender showed that slide about the average salaries for people in accounting profession in Canada, and those tend to be really high. So at $70,000 Canadian dollar tuition fee, when your median or mean salaries are so high, that talks about the ROI in itself. So very, very interesting over there. I do have a few more questions coming in, and I think you already addressed this in your presentation where you spoke about Toronto as a destination, how immigrant friendly the country is. 55% of the population was born outside of Canada. So it answers it over there. But Rohan is still concerned about the increasing racism in US and possibly Canada. So any experiences? So Vijender, you have lived there for many years. You lived there for almost a decade. Professor Trivedi, you have been there for, I'm guessing, much longer than that. So any nasty or any bad experiences that you faced during your time there?
None at all. None at all.
None.
Yeah. And I'm being very frank here. See, many people conflate Canada with USA. They are two different beasts in this respect, right? You have the advantage of being in North America, but we are different from them in this regard. A very friendly, right? I'm not saying that there's no racism at all. There obviously could be racism, but it's not overt. It doesn't hurt you. And in all the major cities, which is where most of the population is, it's a diverse population. You cannot afford to be a racist, right? So you should not have sleepless nights at all on this issue.
Yeah, that's the least that you worry about.
Yeah.
Right? It's inclusive and safe environment, right? So
your worry should be how to get the best out of what we have to offer, right? Well, enjoy the place, see the place, move and right, travel.
Absolutely, I'll vouch for this. I've been there. I was there in 2019. Toronto is such a vibrant, beautiful city, extremely welcoming. And I've traveled across North America, Europe, and other parts of the world as well, and haven't found any other city to be as friendly to Indians or immigrants as Toronto. So extremely friendly people, extremely welcoming, and so many Indians. You're just so many Indians around there, and
and not just Toronto alone. Sorry to intervene, Sanjay. Not just for example, my son is now in Ottawa, another great place, right? Of course, it can't be Toronto, and he accepts that too. But all of Canada, just not pockets of Canada, all of you go to Vancouver, same story, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Some of the most beautiful cities in the
Yeah.
world are actually in Canada. So Vancouver is known to be extremely beautiful as well. Of course, Toronto, Montreal, amazing cities. And even if you look at the natural places, the places to go hiking and the beauty of the place is just amazing. So I've had the opportunity to travel a bit and was super impressed by how beautiful and how safe the country is. So great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your perspective on that. Professor Trivedi, there are again questions coming around CA and CPA. So let me take this question from Ritesh, who's completed a CA intermediate and he's planning to do his MBA in Canada with the CPA Canada. So his question is, can he look at the Masters of Accounting instead, or MBA with CPA Canada is a better pathway for him?
Yeah, very good question again. You see, we also have an accounting stream within our MBA program, but that's just for people who want to get a little bit more flavor of accounting. It doesn't really train you to pass the CFE. That should be your aim, right? So to become a CPA, you need to pass the CFE. How do you pass the CFE? Join the MAC. Why? Because the MAC is tailored for that, right? The MBA is not tailored for our MBA is fabulous, but it's tailored for, or it's focusing on something different, right? So that's the difference. So if you want to be a CPA, again, it's a no-brainer. You have to do the MAC. It's a fantastic program. It'll place you well to succeed in your life.
And the ROI piece as well, right? Like when you compare the tuition fees, and MAC is also open to students who don't have work experience, right? They can just move from their undergrad to the MAC program, the master's program. Whereas for MBA, you do require 2 years, minimum of 2 years of work experience. The average comes out to be about 4.5 to 5 years.
Yeah, I'll also answer an allied question that Tanya has. She's completed her CA and she's currently working with the Big Four. How will this course help me? Actually, this is something that is right up your alley. Now, remember that you are a CA, but after you come here, you have to write your CFE to get your reciprocity, right? And that's where most chartered accountants fail, right? You don't want to fall in that crack. And that's what our program trains you to do. I'm a CA from India, right? But it's a fabulous program, but it doesn't test you the way that you're tested on the CFE. Here it's all case-based. And people really struggle when they take this case-based exam. When you get into our program, we use the case method, the Schulich case method that we are very famous for from day one. So you're just used to it. It becomes familiar for you. And when you go to the CFE exam, you pass it with ease.
Perfect. So on that note, there are some more questions coming in. Let me take this question from Chirag, who's looking to pursue the Masters in Finance from Schulich. So I think his inclination is more towards the Masters in Finance program. And he wanted to check if he can apply for that with zero experience. Also, Professor Trivedi, any recommendation between Masters of Accounting or the difference between Masters of Accounting and Masters of Finance programs? So I know Schulich offers both. Which is better for which kind of audience? Any guidance on that?
Sure. I mean, if you want to go into finance, obviously you should go and do the Masters of Finance. There's no doubt about it. If you want to go into investment banking. Now, having said that, right, my plug for the CA. Now, remember, when you compare the Masters of Finance with the Masters of Accounting, they are two different beasts. Once you do the Masters of Accounting, you get the degree, but you also are a professional. You're a CPA. With a CPA can become many things. CPA are just not accountants. You can go into investment banking. You can be a business valuator. You can become the CFO. You can become the CEO. So the world is your oyster, so to speak, right? So many opportunities get opened up. But again, it's your call. If you think that you want to focus just on investment banking, right? That's what you want to do. Maybe the finance is the way to go for you, right? But doesn't mean that the CPA won't allow you to reach the same space that the Masters of Finance would allow you to do. Or you can go and go into IT. Now IT and accounting, right? IT or tax and accounting. There's so many opportunities that a CPA, being a CPA, allows you to pursue.
And Sanjay, I believe there are questions around prerequisite courses that
I am. I'm just coming to that. In fact, I'm going to take this question from Anisha first, who's completing her undergraduation in 2023. So Anisha, I think you have mentioned June 2023, but mostly exams happen in April or May at Indian universities. So you get your degree in June or July, but usually exams do get done by most often March, April, latest by May. So Vijender, can such candidates still look at the 2023 intake? I know the course starts in May. That's where the India leg of the DIAC is planned to happen, the term 1. So can they still apply and aim to enroll for the 2023 intake, or should they be looking only at the 2024 intake?
I think we're okay to review their profile, right? Because they'll be done with their exams by April. But because the program starts in May and the orientation also starts early May, so I think we'll have to sit down and plan. So once, and the question was from Anisha. Yeah, Anisha, once you have your final exam dates, please get in touch with us. Or if you have tentative dates, you can email us, and happy to jump on a Zoom call to see how we can plan your application process. And short answer is yes, maybe, right? But I think we'll need to plan and see how we can help you join the May 2023 cohort. Okay.
Yeah, just to answer that question, sorry, most of our students are our own undergraduate students who have passed the year before. So they would have passed in April, May, and then get into a MAC term 2 in the coming May. So it's possible, but you have to contact VJ to fine tune, right, when exactly your program gets over, whether you'll be able to join our program.
So it may be possible, but Anisha, please write in, please recheck. And Vijender, I understand there's an option for conditional offers at time, and maybe this can be a case that can be considered.
Yes.
Vijender, also a quick check on the prerequisites. So I know you're showing those on the screen, but certain waivers which may be available. So any waivers for Gmat GRE, so CFA level 1 candidates or level 2 candidates who can look at a Gmat GRE waiver?
Yes, so CFA level 1, 2, 3, we do offer Gmat waivers. Level 3 for sure, level 1 or 2, just again, reach out to us. It really depends on the intake that you're applying to. May 2023, I think the decision will be made around early August, just before the round 1 deadline. And maybe you'll have to plan and submit your application round 2. So that's tentative, but the CFA level 3, absolutely, yes. And in terms of application fee waivers, I'll just go ahead and say it. So if you know an alum, or if we can get in touch with someone from our alumni network, and if they're able to refer you, we can also waive off the application fee of about 150 Canadian dollars. And in terms of prerequisites, I think Shanker would be the best person to highlight if we do have any waivers there, or why do we have these prerequisite courses? So Shanker, over to you.
Yeah, see, the prerequisites are just not for our own purposes, right? The CPA Institute here requires you to have taken courses. So to fulfill that, you need those prerequisites as well. And without those courses, you will not be able to do the higher level courses well and perform well in them. And that's the reason why we require you to take those courses. Like statistics, right? You need that, micro and macroeconomics and finance. Because if you don't have the prerequisites with you already, you'd have to then take them after, which is not possible because ours is a very rigorous program, right? So you go lockstep. There are 5 courses per semester. And so performing well in those courses means you have to focus on them all the time.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Shankar, there's also this question coming around ACCA course. So I understand ACCA is mainly UK regulated. It's equivalent to chartered accountancy from UK. If you have any insights on that. So Anjan was asking this question a couple of times. If you have any guidance or any insights on the ACCA course?
Yeah, I don't know too much about the ACCA, but let me tell you one thing. The ACCA is not recognized in Canada. If you, and not casting aspersions on any institute, but if you want to become an elite accountant, you have to become a CPA. No ifs and buts about it, right? So that's what it is. I don't know whether that answers your question, but short answer.
It does. And Shankar, between CPA America and CPA Canada, are there any cross qualifications that can be done? So can one do CPA Canada and then look at upgrade, adding on the CPA US on that, or is that possible?
It is very much possible. See, there's only one thing. Many people, and this is again a misunderstanding. What many people do is that once having come to Canada, they try to get their CPA USA and then try to get reciprocity and get CPA Canada. CPA Canada doesn't allow that, right? So the better bet would be, and the CPA USA, unfortunately, is not recognized as much in the market, right? In Canada. So if you want to be in Canada, then you have to get your CPA Canada. Once you get it, let's assume you want to work in the US. The reciprocity is very easy, right? Or you want to go to Australia, you want to go to Hong Kong, you want to go to Netherlands. So there is a one-to-one reciprocity between the different institutes. That's why we use the term the passport to the world. We mean it, right? Does that answer your question? Hopefully.
It does. It does. Absolutely. And so I'm seeing a couple of questions coming in from people. So this is especially from 𝗀𝗲𝗂𝗁𝒀𝒑, who's looking to pursue a career in consulting. Now, 𝗀𝗲𝗂𝗁𝒀𝒑, firstly, consulting can be of many types, right? You can be in financial sector consulting, you can be in strategy consulting, you can be tech consulting. But Shankar, what is the pathway into consulting for a CPA holder? Or anyone who doesn't want to go all the way to CPA can they look at just completing the Masters of Accounting and then look at a career in consulting post the program?
See, the way that the profession is structured, even in India, right, the CA profession, right, you have to do your articleship and then obtain your CA, which is a very good investment because, during articleship, you get exposed to so many facets of the business or the industry that you wouldn't be exposed to otherwise, right? You get access to the books of accounts. You look at how the company is working, right? You actually become a better consultant. So it's a an investment that is well made, so to speak, right? A long answer. Essentially, what I'm saying is that if you want to be a great consultant, the CPA actually allows you to do that. You get your CPA. Many of my students, they finish their articleship and then they want to go into consultancy, and they are free to do so. The firms are very supportive of that, and so they do their articleship and then they move on to consulting roles. So that's quite feasible. But it's very difficult for you to just become a consultant straight away after you finish your MAC, because your MAC is training you to take the CFE exam and then go and become a CPA.
Okay. And Vichinder, this is a question which has come in from Sony and who's asking about the level for the prerequisite courses. So the courses in microeconomics, macroeconomic statistics. She's taken these courses at the class 12 level. So does that work, or does she need to have taken those at the undergraduate level?
I think at the undergraduate level. Is that correct, Shankar? I believe
it would be correct, because we'll have to look at the coursework, right? The coursework will be different. I mean, 12th standard or school level will not satisfy what is required and what is covered at the university level.
You need a more advanced qualification. So if you have taken courses in microeconomics, statistics at the undergrad level, then possibly you meet the prerequisite. If they don't meet the prerequisite, and there may be some of you who have joined the session a little later, if you don't meet the prerequisites, they can still take those prerequisites as part of their DIAC course in India, right? During the first term, they can still do the prerequisite courses simultaneously, or do they need to have cleared those before getting an admission?
They would have to, ideally, they would have to have those prerequisites before. The reason why I say that is because, again, the DIAC term 0, there are 5 courses. It's a very tough program because we are training you for the CFE, right? It's a very elite program. So you need to have all this in your bag before you come in.
So for those who possibly didn't have any microeconomics courses at the undergrad level, what option can they look at? Can they look at doing some online certifications, short-term certifications, take up some courses to get those prerequisites done? any pathway that is possible for them?
Yeah, that they can explore that. So if they are able to take university level courses, one-off courses, then it should work, I guess.
All right. And I have this question coming in from Rohit, who completed his bachelor's in commerce in 2011, pursued the CA inter for some time, and then completed his law qualification as well. He didn't complete he didn't get the CA qualification. He just did CA inter and then dropped it midway and started working full time. Can he still look at applying for the MAC? Is there an upper limit on the work experience that you'd accept in the program?
No, Vijay, you might be more familiar with how many years prior should the undergrad should be completed for us to consider. Do you know?
There is no limit per se, but usually we look at the average work experience of the class, right? So that's one thing that we look at. But again, Rohit, I think what you should do is maybe submit your profile for a quick evaluation and we can chat or a Zoom call. You can also invite another member of the admissions team who takes care of the MAC recruitment in Toronto, and we can dive into details. I think it is possible. It's just about, the acceptance rate actually goes down if you have a higher experience, more than 10 years, because the way we look at it is about 80% of the classes at that average experience level, 20% without any experience, and then about 5 to 10% above the average experience of 8 to 10 years. At least that's the case in the MBA program, but I think we see similar averages for the MAC program, not the DAC, but the MAC program.
I'm remembering now the limit, right, of how far back you should have done your undergrad is only on waiver of the GMAT. So here you would be taking the GMAT anyway, right? So there is no upper limit of the number of years since when you finish your undergrad. Now, as far as the upper limit is concerned for work experience, we really don't care about that because we have had students in the past who have had a diverse range of experiences. If you're the right candidate, if you have the spirit in you, then it should work.
All right, great. So in the interest of time, we are running a little over time. We are already at 8 p.m. So we are just touching that mark. I'm going to take the last 1 or 2 questions. So those of you in the audience, if you have any pending questions which have not been answered, something unique, you can still post your questions in the Q&A box and I'll try to pick those up for Professor Trivedi and Vijinder. If not, I'm going to take up one question from Uzma, who's got 3 years of experience in the finance industry. He graduated in 2018. He's also done his SAP FICO courses, and he's now evaluating the MBA. So Vijinder, I know Schulich offers, there's the MBA program, there's the MBA in India program, and there's a plethora of other Masters of Accounting program. But for someone with this kind of profile, right, with 3 years in finance, any suggestions on whether a Masters of Finance is a pathway or is an MBA is a better pathway if the person is not specifically looking at the CPA?
Yeah, the great question, Uzma. Short answer is yes, like you should feel confident submitting an application to one of our MBA programs, MBA Toronto or our MBA in India program. It's a dual economy MBA program, because Master of Finance is for students or who have less than 2 or 3 years of work experience, right? Or who are fresh graduates who are thinking about masters right after their undergrad. So that is where we differentiate and say, okay, Master of Finance is for people with less than 2 years of work experience. And if you have more than 2 years of experience, MBA would be better, right? And a couple of reasons why: because you've worked in the industry, you have some experience that you're able to bring to the classroom, and you'll also learn from other people who have similar experience or higher experience than you. So strongly recommend that you look at the MBA program versus the Master of Finance program. And then of course, up to 3 years of work experience and with an MBA degree, you would be definitely looking at let's say senior manager roles post your MBA program, right? So I would say MBA with the specialization in finance would be the way to go, right? At least that's what I would recommend as well.
Sounds fair. And I think we have already covered this question before, but since it's come up and it's got an upvote as well, I'm going to ask you again, the difference between Masters in Accounting and Masters in Finance. We did cover it a while ago, but maybe the audience, this person came in a little later. If Shankar, if you don't mind sharing your insights on these again, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, these two masters are focused on different career paths, right? One, yeah, the finance would be, as I said, if you want to go into a finance role within a firm, or you want to go into investment banking, those would be the areas, reasons why you would go and do a master's in finance. On the other hand, if you want to become a professional, if you want to get the CPA degree, and then you want to go into the broad profession of accounting. I say broad because it covers a lot of things, right? You can go into finance also with a CPA degree, or you can go into IT, you can go into tax, you can go into consulting, you can be a management accountant, you can go into strategy. That's the point. It opens up the full world for you. So that's what, but in the immediate solution, so to speak, what the MAC does for you is that it helps you prepare for the CFE. So that's the short answer, right?
All right, great. So I think, Chirag, even your question does get answered through what Professor Trivedi just shared. So I think that gives you enough direction over there. At that point, I'm going to stop taking the questions. I think we are over time. But Vijender, if you can just show the audience the deadlines once more, that would really help. Sorry, I know you turned off the screen share, but if you could share the screen again and just show the audience the deadline. I just want to remind them about the upcoming deadlines.
Absolutely. So for the May 2023 intake, the first round deadline is August 12th.
Right.
And
So,
like I said, I think one of the things that you can do to reach out, if you have, of course, you have questions and you'd like to sit down and discuss your profile with a member of our admissions team, I think you should submit your profile here. And I'll just quickly share this link in the chat box so you guys have this link handy. And yeah, and then yes, please feel free to connect with us and attend some of our events.
So awesome. So 12th of August is the round one deadline. There are four deadlines, but it's recommended that you apply by the third deadline in November. Is the application portal already live? Can they start their applications right away, or do they need to wait for some time?
They'll need to wait. So I think we're planning to open the applications portal in April.
Okay. So maybe a month or slightly over that to go. So those in the audience who are interested in the Schulich Masters of Accounting program, do keep this in mind that the application portal opens from April onwards. So you can start your application then. The round one deadline is 12th of August. Round two deadline is 7th of October. Round three deadline is 25th of November. It is highly, highly recommended that you apply during these three deadlines within these three rounds for the May 2023 intake. And even if you're completing your exams in April, say March or April 2023, then you may get considered for admission as well. To get your profile considered evaluated for the same, do reach out through the link that Vijender has shared in the chat window. So you can send in your profile over there, get your profile doubts clarified, and check if you're eligible for the 2023 intake, even if you're graduating in 2023 itself. So this is great. This is great insight and great information. I want to thank Professor Trivedi and Vijender for doing this session, coming on board as panelists for this particular interaction. It has been extremely insightful. I know a lot of our audience from other sessions are looking for Masters in Accounting, Masters in Finance programs. They're looking to migrate to Canada, study over there at some of the top schools over there. And this session, I believe, has been extremely insightful and relevant for them. So thank you again for taking out the time to do this session. It has been extremely, extremely helpful.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you all. And we look forward to evaluating your applications and wishing you the best. Please take care, stay safe.
Absolutely. Thank you to the audience as well. Please go ahead. So.
Great session.
Yeah, very engaging audience. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good time. Take care.